That was a nice touch right there at the end. The glass is breaking. Welcome to the new and improved version of NFT Live. I'm sitting here with my main man, Gift Ed. We're giving you the Web3 and NFT news this week, 4 times a week. How do you feel about 4 times a week, Gift? Just let me know right
I
up front.
mean, well, I've already been doing it 4 times a week, Q. How do you feel about 4 times a week?
I
That
want
is
to.
the real question.
You've been doing GM Web3. You haven't been doing NFT Live. The visuals, people get to see our faces 4 times a week. I feel great about it. I feel great about chilling in the chat with some awesome people. I got Deck, Cromer, Jacob Gooden, Fun Uncle Cody. People are showing up early. Hash Rhymes, of course, showing up early. But dude, I
The
feel good about it. I'm
homies.
excited.
Let's
I'm
go.
excited.
Let's go. Yeah, me too, man. I mean, look, we cover so much great info. We have such a good time on the GM Web3 show. It seemed like a natural extension, and also as part of, some of the other big announcements that we have coming this week, tomorrow, about how we're reformulating, rethinking some of the things that we're doing around here. So this is part of it. New format. We're just going to keep it going because we want to, while it's still fresh coming out of the GM Web3 Morning Alpha show, kind of recap, hit on some of the headlines, some of the highlights, some of the things going on, and just add more consistency. There's a lot of value just to staying up, on the market, on what's happening. And this is part of our way of trying to create more of that value, trying to create more consistency, and just make sure that that this network, this community is
Mm.
on top of it all, doing what we can.
And I see the OVOTs in the chat. If you are new to this network, we say our vibe, our tribe all the time. That's a secondary rhyme there at the end for you guys. I'm on it today, so I think I'm going to give him a little teaser here about. Actually, I'm going to give him the full look at what we're doing. Me and Gif are opening our own Chippendales strip club restaurant esque in LA. It's going to be amazing. Can I hear it? Can I
Yo,
get the
yeah,
applause?
where's the I can't use my soundboard on NFT Live yet. That's a flaw that we need to work out. We're gonna get that figured out.
At
Yeah, I mean, look, we both came up being massively inspired by, our mentors, the male strippers at Chippendales. So this seemed
Sure.
also like a natural evolution of our careers, of where we're going, is to just come out, start our own male strip club where we can perform, more regularly, because they weren't giving us enough stage time at the other ones. Let's be
Dude,
honest.
at the same time, it's super on brand for us to just do this. So it's a win-win for everybody all around. But guys, we have a lot to touch on today. We won't really get to the big announcement, but if you are interested and you are a member of the community, we are having a meeting later today in our Discord about said announcement tomorrow. So it's going to be at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard. If you want to get there, if you want to talk to me and Gift Dead about what is to come, we shall be there. We shall be there. But as far as today is concerned, we
It's not a
are
bad
going.
time. It's not a bad time to get involved. Let's put it that way. Yeah, it's not a bad time to come through, talk to us about what we're doing. So yeah,
Truth, truth. Okay, so I want to pull up one thing as well, which is the announcement that you. Well, you know what? We'll leave that for later. We're going to touch on some few things today. We've got seasonal NFTs. It is the holidays, if you will. One of my favorite holidays, Halloween. I got my whole outside like decked out. Unfortunately for my girlfriend, who absolutely hates it, that is decked out. But we also have, Thanksgiving. We have, of course, Christmas coming up, and with that, NFTs that come out that are seasonal. Are they worth it? Should they get in? That was one of the main topics of conversation. But DeGods and Magic Eden going to 0% royalties was a heated debate this week in crypto, and will continue to be as the week progresses. I'm used to saying this on Wednesday, but we have the whole week in front of us, and then we also have some DappRadar Q3 rankings. It feels like the bull market is not coming back, but there's a glimmer. We see maybe the faintest of lights at the end of the tunnel for the space, for crypto, for Web3. So it's an exciting time, but we are glad to be here on a Monday, giving you NFT Live 4 times a week, baby.
well, yeah, and 'tis the season, DGen season. I think we should rebrand it. But I'm actually going to be looking forward to giving away, like giving NFTs as gifts to like all of my friends and family. That's going to be my way of onboarding, giving back, bringing more people, and also, maybe saving a little bit of money on buying some more stuff. I've already got a ton of amazing art. These are digital assets. What's better than getting dope digital art? I hope that this season gifting NFTs becomes a thing. I hope it becomes like a big thing.
It could be like one of the first ways that most people get into the space. If you think about it, like you guys are talking about NFT cards, we could get like, seasonal cards could be the way that grandma sees an NFT for the first time.
It's up to us. It's up to us to bring our families in, show them the virtues, the values of Web3, of DJing culture, and get them some art, at the same time.
Dope. All right, guys. So if you are here again for the first time, we're covering NFTs Web3. Please leave a like if you like the content. If you like me and GIF, please get down there and like the content. If you're on Twitter, retweet, do all that good stuff. But we are happy to have you in here today. Yo, first piece of news that I want to pull up, and it's just me and you. So, guys, excuse me for the a little bit being a little bit off on the sharing of the screen here. I want to get to this tweet from Sarah Script. We've got emotional support mice minting out today. So we wanted to give a big congrats to Sarah Script there, who has, these were released, I think, last week sometime. They started like early last week. They did a snapshot for a holder. They did also like an allow list, and then they opened it up to the public, and Sarah completely minted out on these emotional support mice. So big shout out to you, Sarah, for just succeeding in the bear market.
Yeah, we got to start with the homies. This is huge for her. As a fan, watching her grow in the space, building her own artistic career, her own journey, telling her story. I'm very, very proud of her for this. This is really huge to be selling out. One of the biggest collections she's made for sure. It's like 400, something like that. And to your point, in a bear market. So let's hecking go, Sarah Script. If you haven't got a Mournbird or an emotional support mouse, check them out. She's gonna be an absolute legend. I've said it before, I think, on the show. Sarah Script is absolutely one of those artists that I see being an absolute superstar in the next couple of years, whatever that looks like. Maybe she'll be a household name. I don't know, but I think she's going the distance.
She brings a lot of value to those GM Web3 morning shows as well. So yeah, big shout out to Sarah. Always got something awesome to say, a little quip to add on the topics there. But anything you want to talk about as far as it's related?
She's the full package. She's the full package.
For sure.
Let's
a lot of utility there for being in that community. Yo, how was GM Web3 this morning as I get on to our first topic?
It was great, man. We got to give away a caked ape. That's like one of the funnest things in the world. Are you kidding? Like one of the dopest dudes in the community, 639 Hertz, I think is his handle, James. Shout out to you. He just was like, yo, I have this insanely dope caked ape. I want you to give it away on Monday. And I was like, yes, we will. And Cake Nygaard, world-renowned chainsaw wrestling artist Cake Nygaard was there, while we're giving it away. It's one of the coolest feelings. So getting to hook people up with amazing NFTs like that is a gift. And then, I wanted to hit on more headlines, but of course we got somewhat derailed by the controversy that I wish we didn't even have to talk about this, frankly, because it's absolutely feeding into what they're trying to do, right? Which is this 0% royalty stunt by Frank DeGods and the Utes and all this. I get it. I wish we didn't have to talk about it. I wish it wasn't what everyone was talking about, but of course we ended up talking about it.
I feel like Frank DeGod actually like pioneers the is bad news actually good news because you're being talked about. Like that is literally that project. Like there's so much controversy around it that they get brought up in the news all the time, of which we will add our part here today. We'll touch on 0% royalties later. These are conversations, guys, that we want to be like collaborative with you guys there in the chat as well. So if you've got anything as it's related to the topics once they come up, drop it.
I don't see. Here's the thing: is like I fully understand and I know that trolling and shit posting is a feature of Web3. It's not a bug. It is a feature. It is part of internet culture, of meme culture. It's part of Web3, but I don't like being trolled by collections and by founders. And that's to me kind of what it feels like. It feels like they're trolling the community as a stunt to get more attention, which is working. But it's at the detriment of artists, in my opinion. So Anyway, I don't know if we were going to go in. Sorry, Q. I'm going in on it. Like,
It's
you lead the conversation, Q. I'm here. I'm here to follow.
Listen, this is our first like duo episode, so you guys have to give us a little bit of rope here as we like start this NFT live on 4 days a week. So it is going to be a challenge, man. Like honestly, it's going to test me as a creator as well. So hopefully you guys can give some good feedback as well. I'd love to hear what the community has to think about like how the switch to 4 days a week goes. You know, like you guys sitting there, we sometimes I think we mostly get to 2 days a week at this point. You're able to prep, you're able to like get the week together, you're able to kind of talk about it. 4 days, you're just like, fuck it, we're going
we're
live.
doing it
Let's
live.
go.
Q, we're doing it live, bro. Like, let's just go. Like,
Yeah.
no more apologies. Like, fuck it. Let's just go, bro.
Building in the open. Yo, I wanted to drop one last look here at Web3 Morning Show. If you want to follow them, I'll drop that in the chat here in a second. And I say them, but that has to do with the announcement later. But if you haven't heard about GM Web3 Morning Show, like you have to get over there. Just honestly, just join. It's just the Twitter Spaces. You can just sit there as a listener. You don't have to contribute your first time, but you will get a vibe of like how the community rolls and how welcoming everybody is if you're looking to get into Web3 or NFTs for the first time, or if you're
It's a shot of
experienced.
caffeine. It's a shot of adrenaline. It's caffeine in the morning. It's the greatest way to wake up. GM Web3.
I do have a little bit of a concern on your latte preferences because literally every time you say like I'm starting my coffee, it's always a latte. Is that like there's other options? There's espresso, there's iced coffee, and you just happen to be just standard latte, as Kane Mayfield would say, every morning.
Yeah, my default is an oat milk latte with a side of pre-workout.
That's absolutely disgusting. All right, moving on. Here's our first story for today. You saw a cat there, but really it's going to be a trick or treat. Will Halloween NFTs be hauntingly good or too spooky for crypto? Normally, I'm not a Cointelegraph guy. I don't like the product that they put out, but really this encapsulates kind of the first little mini topic that we have to start us off with today, which is seasonal NFTs. And the idea that we're kind of trying to get to is each Halloween or each Christmas season, there seems to be these NFT projects that kind of pop up and are selling NFTs based on being cute. Like one is a Santa Claus, one is a present, all this stuff. And whether that actually is sustainable, I think is the kind of question that I want to pose to you, to the chat, because eventually you get like led with or I guess like a bag that has these seasonal NFTs that really don't have much sustainability past that holiday season of that calendar year. You can't hold somebody's attention for 10, 11 months out of the year and expect them to come back for the next season too. So, that's kind of the idea. Let me know what y'all think, but what's up, Giff?
Well, I thought it was funny. I think it was Fun Uncle. Somebody in the GM Web3 show talked about how we need to have like an attic in our wallets or in the metaverse for where we store our seasonal NFTs when they're out of season, which I love. I think that's true. It's actually really similar. Look, one of the things that actually helped me understand, and this is obvious, I feel like it's a lot of people like us, Q, because you also come from like a gaming background. So I'm sure that your gaming background, buying skins, investing in games was one of the things that early on made you understand the metaverse and the value of NFTs. You're like, oh
100%.
shit, these can actually be real assets outside of the game that are autonomous from the actual game itself that you can own. Like for me, like Rocket League was one of those primary examples. For those of you who don't know, I'm obsessed with Rocket League, but in that game, they have seasonal skins and things like for your car. And so when it gets to holiday season, everybody changes their cars to have, really dumb, rocket boost with like presents shooting out of their butts and like, shit like that. And so it's fun. It's funny. It's kitschy. Everything that you love about the holidays, you can enjoy it. And so I do think from a PFP perspective, you'll want to have an attic with a couple of those things that you can dust off whenever Christmas time comes or whenever Halloween comes. I think there is a market there. I just don't think it's a big market for most of those projects. I'm not really bullish on like expensive Ethereum, holiday themed NFTs being really relevant for most of the year. That said, I do, big bold prediction here. I do think there will be a Mariah Carey, hit. I think there will be one for like each holiday season, something like that, right?
Okay.
Like I think there will be somebody that cracks the code, creates the most like memorable, fun, engaging Christmas NFT that everybody fucking wants, and they're gonna make like tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars over the next 10 years off of it.
It's a little bit like, I mean, you mentioned Mariah Carey. It's a lot like movies, right? Like they're creating IP that's associated with the holiday, and maybe it hits, maybe it doesn't. Like that. We all go back and watch Hocus Pocus every freaking time that the Halloween season kind of comes around. So I get that. I really like the idea.
But you have to create like real cultural relevance and like affinity for that brand or IP. It has to really matter for you to want to go back and revisit it with your family.
Has to be
every
good.
year, right? And you brought up Tom Bilyeu's project, which I haven't heard anything about. I haven't seen anything. I've seen nobody rock it ever, and I feel like he was early trying to crack that. I don't know that he did.
No, I don't think so. And I do want to follow up with Tom Bilyeu. I want to see what they're up to. So I don't want to like talk before I can, kind of get a read on their project. Asmodeye's in the chat saying Gift Ed skirting around announcing a bad Xmas jumper NFT project. Listen, you kind of jumped the gun there on an announcement. It wasn't Chippendales. It was a bad Christmas jumper NFT project. So there's a lot of pieces.
Asmodeye, I'm guessing Asmodeye must be from either Australia or the UK. If
I could see
jumper.
UK for sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing. So yeah, bad Christmas sweaters. There's going to be a million of those projects. Maybe somebody can do it well.
Yeah, Jeff Jag had a great comment in the GM Web3 show as well. He was talking about like consistency, right? Because he's dropping apparently a project that is Christmas themed, I believe, or might be Halloween themed. But the consistency of having, maybe if you're going to launch those type of NFTs, maybe you do a springtime one. Maybe you do then a summertime NFT project as well. And then once, fall rolls back around, like almost having it so that project is seasonal related. And the one thing I didn't say, because there's a ton of people speaking, and, it's not like the GM Web3 morning shows of old where it's like four of us like chatting and can chat the whole time. But another one that I had that is kind of a little bit related is the Spoiled Banana Society. They released last year NFTs based on a roster of fantasy football players that would last over, the course of, you would have the same roster essentially next year. Now, there's a lot of details that I want to get in there, but don't have time to. But essentially, the real big part is that consistency of user base and stickiness when it's related to something like fantasy football. Once the season's over, what the fuck do people do for the next 8 months? So I think Jeff Jack had a great point of consistency of like maybe that Spoiled Banana Society should do an MLB drop as well, or an NHL drop. That would be a way to continue along those same lines.
I think it's interesting because it is an opportunity for like storytelling. If you could figure out a way to like have a journey of some sort start at the end of the holiday season and then like end at the beginning of the new holiday season where you're earning some kind of thing or unlocking something, and then it's sort of just like passive but still exciting, as people are like, working through the journey throughout the year, there's still kind of like some level of interest that you're maintaining, and then it's bigger the next year because people are like completing their journeys or they've got something new to show. I think it's actually a really great opportunity for storytelling if somebody could crack that. Also, like I think you kind of hit on it there with like a springtime. Like I'm very bullish on projects that are sort of self-contained without the seasonality. Like they're a valuable IP. Like I brought up Deadfellas, Witchy GF, I think is another example. But like Deadfellas to me is a great example of a project that by itself is already badass. It's got a really strong team, a badass community. The art is amazing, but then it also has a seasonal sort of bump, right? Because it's zombies.
It's related.
Because of the kind of content, like they're also going to be able to appreciate during the Halloween season and get more attention, I think. And so I'm really bullish about projects that are able to kind of like layer in seasonality as almost like an additional utility on top of the foundation. I think that's a cool thing.
Yeah, you mentioned gaming earlier, and I don't want to go too far off track because we do have other topics, but you mentioned gaming earlier. Gaming does this really well. Like you mentioned skins, for example, but like retuning the environment as well. Like I remember playing World of Warcraft early on, and like you would go into these big cities and they would be like fully Christmased out. You know what I'm saying? So like the metaverse and all these other portions of the NFT space or verticals, they can get along with this as well, right? Like you can change crypto voxels to be very, Halloween or Christmas themed. So I still
People
wouldn't
are
buy it.
absolutely, yeah, people are absolutely going to be doing that in the I'm almost more bullish on like really metaverse focused assets than just sort of like simple, PFPs or art, right? It's like if you can create something that has more utility within like a metaverse experience that's seasonal, that to me is going to be more interesting, I think, because I do, everybody does this in real life. Everybody wants to, compare themselves to the Joneses or whatever, have the coolest, Halloween or Christmas, shit outside their house during the season. Of course, people are going to want to pimp out their lots in
Yeah.
Sandbox or voxels, right?
Yeah, Asmodee's in the chat saying I didn't get the seasonal thing when Mary Mods dropped and the tree thing seemed to stagnate. Mary Mods was actually the name of that project, so appreciate you dropping that for us. Yeah, I got to follow up with Tom Bilyeu, man. I would love to hear. It seemed like, to your point, that didn't hit, right? But that's experimentation. That's something that maybe someone now doesn't have to do. Now that we've seen some examples of that, so I won't personally be buying seasonal NFTs unless, like you said, maybe they're associated with my PFP or something like that. Like accessories would be dope, but I don't even know if I'd buy. I would do it just because it's in the Yuga Labs ecosystem, but I don't even know if I'd buy a accessory or an extra piece that Yuga drops, for example. You know what I
It's
mean?
I don't think you'd spend that much on it, right? So I think the
Yeah.
market's then going to dictate what people are going to spend, and I don't think you're going to be able to charge exorbitant prices. Which again, to me, it's like more of a Polygon play, if I'm being honest. But Don R makes a great point, right? Which is that Web3 is largely about communities, and seasonal NFTs can bring people together. So it'll have a place.
Yeah.
It'll have a place. It's going
Attention.
to be interesting to see, what are the winners and what kind of buying behavior and collecting behavior goes on this season.
Yeah, great points, Don R. Especially on that attention piece too. That was another point that was brought up in the Alpha Show this morning. Is it's like built-in attention. Like you have someone's attention right off the bat because it's related to that season. So, all right, next piece. Great comments. Next piece that we want to touch on before we get to DeGods, before we get Gifts thoughts here on that situation. We have Q3 DappRadar industry report. So this is kind of I would say summary on the last 3 months, of course, but it's got some interesting things. It's got some, I would say, positive things that we would love to see in a bear market. There's some percentage increases across the board in crypto and NFTs. Gifts got some things as well on Bitcoin hash rate as well. So we'll talk on a little bit of that. I mean, this is going to be a little bit wordy, so let me get to the key takeaways here. The overall market is still below that 1 trillion mark. A lot of people use that as like a really big health indicator for the crypto markets in general. The entire market cap of all cryptocurrencies is below that 1 trillion mark. Until we get above that, some people won't get into the market and we maybe won't see that flywheel effect. They go into DeFi, they talk about the merge, but interestingly, right at the bottom there, while Ethereum NFTs trading volume is down 76% from Q2, the number of trades has increased by 11%, and Solana NFTs are popping up there. So any thoughts there on Solana being mentioned, GIF?
Is this why it went down again? They couldn't handle that much attention.
Truth.
I don't know, man. Obviously, like Solana has gotten, it's got a community, it's got a network. It seems like Solana is going to continue to grow, and obviously, it's been one of the winners so far this year. You could argue Solana's kind of been one of the big NFT headlines as far as looking for bullish signals and where a lot of the growth has been. I do think it's really interesting to see the amount of, like, despite the fact that trading volume in terms of like value is down 97%, that the trading volume in terms of number of transactions is not down at all. It's actually up in double digits. That's actually really fascinating. And I don't know that I like have an immediate response to that, other than like, it's maybe just a clue to where things are going, right? Is that like the networks are getting better, people are getting more involved. The people that are in the space are actually getting more bullish, more engaged, continuing to trade. And there is this like core that doesn't go away. Maybe that's like my immediate like thought about it, is that like I've actually been really excited by things like, we talked about Sarah Scripps' project, minting out the emotional support mice on top of Mournbird's she minted out 2 projects during the bear market. The Stoics are pumping, Rangas are pumping, they're selling out and doing well. And so what this tells me is that even in the worst of bear markets, like art collectibles does not go away. It will, like, to me, there will always be art collectibles on the blockchain, and this is proof of that. Like, this to me shows me that this is not just a fad. Like, even if it's like never at the place where it was, mid 2021, it's not going away. There will be people buying, selling, trading art and collectible NFTs.
Yeah, the last portion of this as well kind of reiterates that. This is an interesting chart too, man, because what you see here is for the first time since April of last year or of this year, we see an increase in actual overall volume, and that actually is also very interesting because this feature right here, this 0.9 in September, actually you have to feature in the lower price of Ethereum. So what's happening here is like you see this kind of stare down, but what's happening here as well is the volumes have decreased because the overall price in Ethereum has decreased. So what you see is these transactions increasing, right? The amount of sales are increasing, but the price is not doing that as well because the price in Ethereum isn't, at 3K or something like that. So this would be a lot higher if the price of Ethereum was 3K.
Yeah, you could argue it could be anywhere from 2 to 4 times higher just based on where we're at last year. And that's a really good point. I do wonder with this, like, if they're able at all to account for bots and wash trading. Probably not. I'm guessing that that they don't. And, part of me thinks like, I wonder if there's a big percentage of this that isn't just like sophisticated bots wash trading a bunch of shit. If so, then that's rough.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's still a ton of volume. There's still a lot of trades. There's still opportunities. There's still projects popping off, and there's still artists and development, incoming.
Yeah, when I think of the bot situation, I feel like it's less likely on a blockchain like Ethereum, of course, but like Solana being featured very heavily in this, it's like, well, something that has probably less gas fees is going to be more susceptible to those pieces there. I want to touch on the top NFT sales as well before we get to like Bitcoin hash rate and a couple other things. Very heavily featured here for CryptoPunks. Of course, that's like a very, high net worth community and individuals that want to buy these things. We have a Pudgy Penguin here, which was a pretty strong sale, 400 ETH at the time. And then a few Bored Apes.
Which most people believe was a wash trade.
Exactly. I wasn't going to say it. Thank you for saying
asterisk. That. Well, there should probably be an asterisk, right? And that's part of the problem here, is because this, like, again, reports like this and the heavy focus, like we were talking about NFT Go's biannual report on a couple shows ago. And like my biggest critique, like there was a couple of fun, interesting facts in that, but my biggest critique of that was that it was so focused on volume. Like it didn't account, like so much of it was like pumping up Azukis. Like, you remember that?
That was a really strange. That was like inside some shit with Azuki team, and like, let's pump this out.
And this is another example, though, is that what this does is it doesn't account for anything other than volume, and it kind of incentivizes the behavior, right? Because what you're doing now is you are featuring a sappy seal, or no, a Pudgy Penguin with a bunch of CryptoPunks and Bored Apes in this report that's probably going out to thousands of people. So it's like,
I will say DappRadar, I love you guys and I love the work you're doing. I feel like they like to stay objective, whereas that NFT Go piece, while that platform is awesome and I use NFT Go all the time, I think it has a little bit less reputation and is less reputable than maybe a DappRadar. Like, I wouldn't throw that accusation at DappRadar, but it does. Any of these analytics favors data that could be botted.
The only thing that I'm accusing anybody of is focusing too heavily on volume and not enough on the context, right? Which is
Yeah.
it's hard to do. You know, when you're just looking at data and putting all this, like so much of the market is still easily manipulated because it's not that big. Especially again, like I actually pointed out, you know, it was a brilliant marketing move, you know, to do it during a bear market when there's not a lot of big NFT sales because it got so much more attention during this time. And this is another example of that. Like they made it into the, you know, the top NFT trades because there's not as many big trades going on.
All right, so I'm going to touch on a couple more things as it's related to what we're seeing, which is this uptick in activity, uptick in sales, this real like good feeling that we feel that as this market continues on, and maybe we start to inch closer toward ending this bear market. GameFi sector continues to grow, so they added active wallets there, and then we also have two more stories here. Which GIF, if you want to break this down, we had an increase in NFT trademark applications since 2021.
Yeah, I think these are interesting macro stories to, you know, we're not just trying to smoke a bunch of hopium up here,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like we are looking at like what are the different forward-looking indicators? What are the optimistic data points? And this in tandem with like the larger crypto market gaining and, you know, more positive sentiment right now because like, you know, the other thing that I paired with this on the GM Web3 show this morning, you know, we looked at NFTs specifically here. This is a very bullish indicator of more adoption and development that, you know, despite the bear market, the filings for NFT trademarks is up 200%, you know, year over year. So what does that say? It just says a lot of people are continuing to build, a lot of people are continuing to develop and be very bullish on the future of this space. They understand the technology. So that's NFT specifically. But then when you look at crypto and what's happening in the broader crypto space, a recent headline in the last couple of days is that there's an all-time high on Bitcoin's hash rate. And so this again is a forward-looking bullish indicator a lot of people pay attention to because historically they've seen miners essentially predicting bull runs. And so the miners who are literally living, you know, crypto mining, living Bitcoin every single day, that's their job, that's their business, is to try and make money mining Bitcoin. Basically, what this means is that despite the fact that we're in this, you know, bear market with, you know, less volume, et cetera, they're turning up their processing speed. They're basically increasing the amount of power that they're consuming, the amount of effort and the amount of expense to mine more and mine it faster because ostensibly they believe that they can stockpile it and it will be increasing in value.
There's some
So
interesting.
it's just these are just bullish. These are just bullish indicators. At the end of the
I'm
day.
over here smoking hopium, so if you guys need any, I'll pass it to the left here. But there's an interesting correlation there as well on the Bitcoin halving. I think it's in 2024 is the next Bitcoin halving. So that's always like a time that, you know, people get more interested in Bitcoin. The microeconomics actually like you know, makes like you're literally cutting supply, you know what I mean? So like you're actually getting less Bitcoin into the market, which hopefully helps price, which leads to increased adoption or interest. So that's in 2024. Hopefully we don't have to wait that long for an NFT or a basic Web3 to like recovery. But we do see things with Bitcoin that kind of span the entire market, right? Like I feel like NFT people and Web, I guess more Ethereum based individuals that are here for the culture don't understand how tied in Bitcoin hash rate can be to their day-to-day lives. Like these are things that are completely tied. Bitcoin price, the, you know, macro function of Bitcoin as it's related to Ukraine and Russia and how this functions in an environment like that. These are things that are never talked about on like the ground level of NFTs, but they lead to the market returning. They lead to better adoption of blockchain, which in turn helps our wallets by increasing the amount of people that enter via liquidity into the market. So I know that's a roundabout thought, but yeah, anything there?
Well, yeah, it's one big ecosystem, and Bitcoin is still the leader in the space. So that's why, you know, everybody watches what Bitcoin does, and so much of the market still follows what Bitcoin does, and that's why this is a story. That's why it matters when Bitcoin miners are spending more to mine faster in a bear market, because people are paying attention to that. Like, what's going on? They're obviously seeing something, right? They're obviously bullish.
Don R saying, in the 99 bubble burst, the truth about the future of web was found in VC flows, trademark filings, new startups. Low bear market prices are less indicated of future promise. The other thing that we don't talk about here is that addition of DeFi and NFTs. We see that more and more. Like, people are, putting a loan on their MAYC so that they can, like, long the market or things like this. Like, that is a lot of rocket fuel if and when the market does recover, right? Like, that didn't exist in this last NFT run. It'll be interesting to see what that added leverage does to the NFT space when that shit comes back around. Joseph Girardi, who is that's Quantum Variant? Is that Quantum Variant? I see in the chat. Unless ETH flips Bitcoin. That's a great poll question. If we could set up a poll, will ETH flip Bitcoin? I feel like most of us are in the ETH, ecosystem here. I think most of us believe that. So,
we talked about the flippening, with apes, flipping CryptoPunks. What do we call this? Is this like the greater flippening? Is this like the great flippening of 2023?
Part two.
Yeah, part two. Yeah. No, I love that. And shout out Quantum Variant in the chat, yo. Big love.
Sarah Scripps here. Let's form a group. Joe, LOL. Yo, we have to get on to the next topic before we end this NFT live, this Monday edition. We haven't done a Monday NFT live in a minute.
Go back and watch the show. We shouted you out like 4 times.
True. All right. If you guys are here for great NFT content, hopefully you're getting it. Please leave a like if you do like that stuff. If it's your first time here, we cover a lot of different things on the network. We've got a lot of different creators here, and we have a huge announcement tomorrow that maybe you would like to be involved in. So just keep your lookout for that. We do have to get to the next story, and I don't want to actually have a nuclear holocaust on my show, but we have DeGods here saying our next experiment, which, TLDR, and there was a couple different people that gave great kind of layouts of what is actually happening here. Essentially, DeGods has, made the move to have multiple, different projects here switched from like almost as high as 9% royalties down to 0% royalties, which seems on the surface like it is a very altruistic move. It's for the community. It's all these different things that, going to 0% royalties maybe it can include, which Giff has his thoughts on that. But what the extra portion of this story here that you guys maybe aren't familiar with is that Magic Eden was potentially going to switch to this anyways. So the fact that they maybe had inside information and are front running the Magic Eden announcement that they're, doing all their, projects on 0% for their marketplace. Now you have DeGods kind of front running that. So it's a whole different narrative switch there, but I do want to get your take, Giff, and anybody in the chat, let us know what you think about 0% royalties and this move by DeGods. All right, Giff.
Yeah, I mean,
go ahead, dude.
I'll start it. I'll start it off by saying, thank goodness that they're non-fungible tokens, and that, there's no one standard, there's no one size fits all for any project or any token. And so, it's up to them how they want to handle their royalties. They're taking full advantage of that, and they're making it into, a PR, stunt, and it's working. Everybody's talking to them, so congratulations. Good for you. Way to troll the whole fucking NFT community and all of the artists. Good job, Frank DeGods. So yeah, I'm glad that this isn't the standard, but unfortunately, because they have a big platform, because they have, a large following and they get all of this attention, they do impact the broader conversation. Yeah, it's, I got so much to say on this,
So,
man. Like honestly,
it's like a multi-layered discussion, which I hope you guys take part of. I do want to also point out, and this was something we weren't able to do in the morning show this morning, but this is Magic Eden's marketplace, and this is the historical activity on Magic Eden. So that was another piece. People were saying Magic Eden is kind of saying, how do we get people talking about us again? How do we get people
this
to
is
want to use our marketplace?
yeah, this is a marketplace story more than anything, in my opinion, to that point, right? Because like marketplaces have a lot of power right now, and if they're basically saying that like in order to compete, this is what we have to do, like to me, like you've already lost in a way. I'll say this though too, on the fact that like this is more of like a marketplace story. If it turns out that Magic Eden is going to 0% royalties, and Frank and the DeGods and the Utes had insider information and front ran this, this becomes one of the biggest scandals in all of NFTs, in my opinion. And so, like, I'm glad I didn't get into the project because this type of shit is like, it's just gross to me. Like, I don't like, being trolled by projects. I don't like this type of hype when you're not actually adding, in my opinion, any real utility. You're actually incentivizing flippers, really to the detriment of the values of artists in Web3. So I'm not really a fan of any of it. I get why they're doing it, and it might be working for them in the short term. It's not, to me, very bullish on the team and where they're going in the long term. If this is their MO. But I'll say it again. If this is insider info, kind of insider trading, and they basically were able to front run because they had that information that Magic Eden is going to zero, to me that's a massive scandal, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere near that.
Donna is saying, what percentage royalty is considered ethical and good business for upstanding projects? Which we got into a whole discussion on the morning show this morning with this objective or subject. Is it black and white? Is it gray with royalties in general, right? Like, are we protecting creators? Are we allowing free markets? Like, it was a very nuanced discussion. But one specific point that I do want to get to based on Donar's comment is what percentage royalty is considered ethical and good business. One of the examples that I kind of broached to the room was, does it matter? Because artists were being talked about a bunch. It was like, how can we, protect the artists? How can we, make it so that they have a sustainable income or sustainable, economy there for all of these different artists that are creating and doing wonderful things, as opposed to other larger, what you would call, honestly, larger brands and entities at this point, like large conglomerates almost with Yuga Labs, for example. I'm paying $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 to them on this percentage fee. So does that scale as the project scales? Should there be a cap? It's incredibly nuanced. I don't even know where I'm going with a lot of that, but that was one of the pieces that I added, was it might be different for a smaller creator, and maybe there should be a cap once you're paying like $15,000 or $20,000 in fees on a Bored Ape, for example.
I mean, I think it's a very interesting conversation. I think you bring up a good point, because it's a lot of money at that point. However, as far as like the ethics of it and where I stand, again, like everybody's got their own opinions, but for why I came into the space and how I'm trying to reshape the world by my existence, by my input, by like my values and where I stand, to me, it should always hedge on the side of empowering the artist and providing them with more control. And so anything, in my opinion, which is, like what Frank, the Gods, and Utes and them are doing, what they're doing, or the whole, when platforms go 0%, they are basically putting traders and flippers over artists and real collectors, in my opinion. They're putting the interests of trading and flipping and volume over the control of the artist, and saying that's paramount, that's actually more important. So to me, what's ethical is actually whatever the artist says the royalty is. You get to decide if you want in or not. The market decides. If Pepsi wants to do a 50% royalty on their shit, let them do it. I'm not going to buy that shit. I don't think most people would. I think, to your point, Q, like marketplaces will institute guardrails on that, because I could see one nightmare scenario being, you get all of this liquidity and all these collectors locked up in a big project like Bored Apes, and then what if they could actually increase that royalty to like 40% once they've already gotten people in. Then you've got people that are kind of trapped and fucked. It's like, that's not a good scenario. So you want to place safeguards against that stuff. But at the end of the day, making sure that you are on the side of empowering artists, protecting artists' right to enforce or set their royalties, whether it's 5%, 2%, 0%, or 10%, that to me is where you should be, and not saying actually traders and volume is more important than what the creators think.
Yeah, great comments there. I mean, the more and more that I get into this conversation, the more I understand that you're pretty much talking about marketplace protections from exploiting artists, right? That's what we're talking about, which is that the artist should be able to set their percentage, not have it enforced by the marketplace.
Well, okay, so this experiment has been run a million times. A lot of other marketplaces have instituted tipping mechanisms,
Exactly.
and as a replacement for payment. And what you see over and over is that when the free market decides, especially in like a mostly anonymous, totally digital, removed capacity, whether or not they're gonna tip, 99.9% of people ain't gonna do that shit, dude. They ain't gonna tip. It's one thing when I go to Panda Express and I'm standing at the cash register staring at the woman and she's saying, "Do you want to donate, $1 to this thing?" And I'm kind of like, man, I'm a little bit of an asshole if I don't just donate $1 right now. You don't even have that sort of like engagement. It's like fully removed. So like nobody's gonna tip. People aren't gonna tip artists. And also wait,
But they
somebody made a
should,
really
though.
good point.
To your point, they should.
No. They
Why?
shouldn't. Okay, Q, you're setting, in my opinion, the wrong standard. The right standard is that artists get to establish a royalty and they get paid for their work and enforce that royalty. It's not about a tipping standard.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, my principle is the free market will lead to the best decision. If people want to do 0% royalties and an artist thinks that they can get more notoriety because they go 0% royalties, maybe that's the way. I get that we want to establish a standard here, but it's really what you're doing is kind of like setting up an artist union. You're saying like the artists are being exploited here, and therefore we need to kind of band together to make sure that these people are taken care of. It's like, well, unions have their issues too. Like people, when you start to like establish those kind of principles, while it might be good for the artists, you're not allowing the free market to do.
The marketplaces by instituting like common sense safeguards and taking care of the artists are actually preventing unionizing. So unions are going to form, and everybody's going to, like, all the artists and creators are going to band and create solutions. Like they're going to band together against this shit. So it's like, it's in my opinion, the marketplace's best interest to find the balance between like supporting their artists and still encouraging collectors on the platform. Yeah, man, it's like I understand, like I'm a capitalist. I understand that like my iPhone couldn't exist without capitalism. My life couldn't exist without capitalism. But this idea that like the invisible hand of the market is right 100% of the times is absolutely absurd. You have to have common sense regulation. Otherwise you get rampant capitalism and like the majority of people get totally fucked. Like the
consumer doesn't get fucked. The creator gets fucked. It's the same thing. 6529, I believe, CryptoPunk 6529 had a great rant on this and kind of tied in. He used the analogy of like pizza in New York. It's like, are you paying $20 per pizza slice in New York, even though the kind of like the line of like what somebody is making is a lot more? Like with more competition, aka the marketplaces in this example, you get lower and lower towards now you're in New York City paying $1 or $2 a slice. Shouldn't you pay $10 to the people that you enjoy getting a pizza from? Like
So, okay. Again, this is a very complicated conversation. Again, I am a capitalist, but you have to have some kind of safeguards and regulations in place that set some guide rails. Otherwise, you get like really, really fucked up results, and people will be doing whatever they can to make money at the consequence and detriment of the consumers. You think consumers win when there's no safeguards? What if that pizza had a bunch of like toxic ingredients in it?
Yeah.
What if they're just selling you fucking glass on your pizza because fuck it. If they're making a buck, like who cares? If you don't like that pizza, you don't have to come back. It doesn't matter if it fucked up your whole digestive tract and your stomach is like ruined forever.
You're probably
like,
not getting returning users if you're putting glass on your pizza.
Yeah, a couple people die, and they lost a few consumers, but like, at the end of the day, it's the cheapest pizza in town. So people keep eating that shit. And like it's a 20% mortality rate at Joe's Pizza. No, NBD. It's no big deal, right? The market will decide. So, a totally free market without any sort of regulation is just as bad as fucking communism. You need balance and nuance. You need balance and nuance.
Yeah, I think overall I agree with the sentiment that we should be protecting creators. I think more so the people that were maybe taking the devil's advocate approach were just saying this is what we think is going to happen, right? Like everything is going to tend towards 0% royalties, but you're saying, okay, then yes, what can we then do about it? Which is kind of the next point of conversation, which you were trying to have. So there's a little bit of rightness, a little bit of wrongness on both sides, I think, for sure.
Well, and so what it comes down to is like, what is the way forward? It's about values. It's about establishing values and then, standing up for those, fighting for those values. I clearly come from the side of the artist and the creator because I've, my whole life has been as a creator, as an artist, as a digital artist, trying to survive. And it was said here in the chat, Don R, musicians and most artists have been robbed blind by their supporting industries for too long. And so what is happening, the whole reason why this digital renaissance is taking place is because finally all of these digital creatives, the creative class around the world is being empowered to capture more of their value. And if you're going to basically just stand by and say, fuck all that, because now the marketplaces and the flippers, think that that's not good enough for them, you're basically saying like, yeah, capitalism was right. Fuck the creators. Let's basically revert back to the standard of capitalism over values, over the creative class. And I'm not here for that. So, I get it. That's my POV. It's complicated, but I'm here to fight for new paradigms and a new way forward. And part of the reason why I think that it's in the interest of our whole society is that those creators, the creatives around the world, artists, entertainers, most of them are empathetic, feeling, community-driven people. And when you redistribute wealth to those people at a global scale, I think that is actually a benefit to all of humanity, right?
Well, it was a great narrative for the NFT space as well. It's kind of what drove a lot of interest in the NFT space. It's like I can create something and then on the resell, I'm making a ton of money. Like that's what drew a lot of people in when you're talking about merch, even things like that, even past art, gaming items, all these things. Like here's your other, revenue stream in perpetuity. So I do agree with the value of protecting the creators, again, protecting that piece. The only thing that I would say is that we have, a lot of, it's an extremely gray area in my opinion. So it's definitely something that I want to see implemented. I will say that siding with the marketplaces is probably not something that you at home should be doing at any rate. Like whether that be ERC20s, whether that be fungible or non-fungible, these people make enough money. Those are the people that are making an extreme amount of money, regardless of market sentiment, regardless if it's a bear or bull, they're going to still be making a ton of shit. So to side with a Magic Eden over, creators in the space, it's tough for me.
Over a Sarah Script, over a Joseph, Quantum Variant, over like the people in your community that can actually like put that money back into your community. You'd have
Agreed.
like I think it's crazy if you actually think about it, and so
it's true.
Well said, Q. Well said, Q. I feel like you turned a leaf there.
Listen. I think that that Web3 is an evolution, not a complete recreation of economic, processes. Right? Like I don't think we're gonna completely find a new.
Q.
Yeah, but I don't think again that it's going to be a complete redesign like you're saying. You know what I mean? So
No,
I like
dude,
we're going to
we're
increase
gonna have,
capitalism. We're going to evolve capitalism, but it doesn't need to be a
yes,
complete shift.
bro. Yes, capitalism evolved. No, like evolve. Let's evolve capitalism. Like nobody's saying get rid of capitalism, but
Yeah.
let's fuck. Like it's we don't have to think that the capitalism of the 1900s is the best capitalism.
Yeah. Well, there's
It
effect.
seems actually. I would go as far as to say it seems pretty fucking clear. It's not right. It doesn't seem like capitalism is working for most people. So how do we evolve it? How do we update it? How do we
Yeah.
institute some new values into capitalism?
Yeah. Well, people have their hands at the controls of capitalism today, which we're getting way too far down a rabbit hole if I say what I'm saying next. So the nation state and all of these people behind the scenes that are controlling all this stuff are benefiting from capitalism maybe, and maybe we can unlock something else via Web3. Who knows? Anyways, make capitalism more fair for everyone. Joseph Girardi. Amazing stuff, Quantum Variant. Smash the likes. Sarah Script is saying capitalism 3. Look, we're talking about pretty heady stuff here on NFT Live. We'll be doing it 4 times a week. I think that pretty much wraps up today's episode. Do we have a giveaway, GIF? Did you do like a giveaway for NFT Live before we pressed go?
Well, yeah, I mean, we're giving away 7 Witchy GS, the first 7 people that retweeted
Oh,
and liked and tagged 4 people. So I'm
you're
gonna go
late.
find who the first 7 were. Yeah, too late on that one. But hey, we always do NFT giveaways on GM Web3. And we should start doing more giveaways on this show. So we'll figure out that. But if you've got ideas for how we can integrate some badass NFT giveaways onto this show, also let us know that in the comments, because giveaways is, like hooking people up with dope art is honestly one of the things that's given me the most joy in this whole like journey and experience has been like actually getting to give away amazing art from amazing artists to a bunch of people. Like we've done literally thousands of giveaways. This isn't a joke. It's not hyperbole. Over the last 2 years since we started Nifty Castle, we've given away thousands of NFTs. And my belief that in the next couple of years, a lot of those are going to appreciate just makes it even cooler because it's literally like planting seeds.
Yeah, it's a great utility for the community, and it's a great way for us to connect, man. So definitely be on the lookout for some announcements coming from me and Gifted here tomorrow. We also have an open meeting that we will be having. Get more information about that after we press end on the stream. I don't want to, but we're at like an hour here, hour-ish, so we're gonna give it a go.
We did it.
And we did it. Monday
The new
NFT Live. It
format,
wasn't so
though.
hard. It wasn't so hard. I thought it was gonna be
It was
hard.
great. That was great, bro. Good for you. You know what, Q? I'm proud of you, bro.
Oh.
Proud of you.
Expo out giving away that Lohan. The Lindsay Lohan piece will never leave my wallet for reasons I won't talk about right now. Asmodai is saying, can I get royalties on my comments? We'll accept LADZ. Don R saying, I'm so happy to be here for such a dedicated and passionate host, sharing the real inside news. Prodigy says, don't put Dak back in. I agree. For the sake of the boys next weekend playing at the Eagles, please do not put Dak back in. I'm all in on Cooper Rush. I'm all in on the boys. So thank you guys so much. Gif, you got anything before we press end stream here?
I mean, since we're ending with sports, love that Man U win. That's all I got. Oh, we didn't really hit on Dapper. So what is it? La Liga or EPL? Who is it? Is partnering with Dapper Labs. That's actually a big story. So maybe we can cover that tomorrow on GM Web 3. I'm actually really excited since we just hit on sports, but yeah, man, like the fact that there's going to be the NBA Top Shot. We all saw it coming. NBA Top Shot of European soccer. I'm excited about that. European football.
Did that just drop? Did that just drop?
Yeah, man, it's coming.
Okay.
Where is that one again?
Yeah,
La Liga. Yeah, so La Liga, which is one of my favorite teams, Barcelona. It's the Spanish top flight, partnered with Dapper to launch basically the NBA Top Shot of soccer. So yeah, bro, we can talk more about that. I thought it was relevant since you ended on sports, but maybe tomorrow morning we can hit that.
Yeah, Wrexham AFC, man, that's been a great show. If you haven't checked that out, you have to check this show out on Hulu. It's fucking amazing.
Cute.
Ryan Reynolds, Rob McElhaney bought a Wrexham AFC. It's a Wales soccer club. You got to check that out. What's up?
What was the last show last show that you binge watched like all of it in like one sitting?
I would have done it with Rings of Power because I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan. I can't remember. Probably Sunderland Till I Die, which is another soccer fucking documentary. Although that went the other way. It went like they got relegated and it was nasty. But yeah,
Well, after you were shouting out Wrexham, I watched that whole thing back to back in one day. Didn't sleep that night. It's great.
yeah. You a Wrexham fan now? Red fan?
Yeah. How can you not be? I mean, of course, man. Like who doesn't want to see who doesn't want to see two Americans show up and bring one of the oldest teams in all of sports from the very bottom to the top? That's a story for the ages. If they can fucking do that, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't want to bring this up, but Crawley Town, there should be a documentary about that. WAGMI United. It's going to be an interesting next 2 years for Crawley Town and WAGMI United. We are currently sitting at the bottom of the table in League One, which is the league sitting right above where Wrexham is.
That's a great story though. Like if Wrexham gets up in there and they're in the same, or I mean, shit, maybe Crawley gets demoted, but like if they're in the same leagues and you've got then two of these different stories competing against each other, that's going to be awesome to watch.
Yeah, appreciated you guys watching us here. I know it's not as entertaining as a Wrexham or a Crawley Town match, although maybe a Crawley Town match. I don't know. Anyways, I'm not throwing shade at WAGMI. I love you guys. Keep building. I think the manager probably needs to go, but we also need to go here on NFT Live. Gif, you got anything before we head out?
GM Web3. We're back tomorrow. NFT Live, new format, 4 days a week. Right afterwards, big announcement tomorrow. You already said it.